Let's make plant-based stuffed poblano peppers. All right, to get started, you need some poblano peppers. Now, poblanos are nice because they're large enough to utilize the interior, but they're not overly spicy. They're kind of really, really mild. And the way I cut them is I just run my knife around the very top, thinly going in. I'm not really going in deep. That way you can like remove a cap like that. And the inside I just take out because nobody really needs to eat the seeds. They're not like super spicy or anything. They're just less than pleasant. And each one of those is going to go into a pot of water. So all four, be back in a sec. Once they're all in our pot, we're going to put this on the stove over high heat, get it boiling. Once it starts boiling, I do turn it down just a little bit. Let this go for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're softened. Okay, I like to put rice in my stuffed poblano, so today we're going to be using
1/4 cup brown rice.
Yeah, we're using brown rice, so it cooks a little bit longer and a little bit different than white rice. And for this, I'm going to treat it more like a pasta because that's the easiest way to cook brown rice. So I'm just going to add some water. How much water? Enough to cover and enough that it won't be gone in the 35 to 40 minutes it takes to cook this rice. Here's what you do. You put this on the stove. You bring it to a boil. Bring it down to just pretty much a simmer. Let it go for 35 to 40 minutes until the rice is cooked. Now for our lentils, much the same idea. How much do we have?
A 1/2 cup, please.
That is just brown lentils, and you just want to make sure there's no like rocks in there. They always say that on the packages. Again, we're going to treat it like pasta. We're just going to pour in a bunch of water. You put them on the stove, high heat, then bring it down to a simmer. Next step, we're going to prep some veggies. And first on our list is garlic.
4 cloves, please.
Really? The recipe calls for 4?
It does.
Wow, usually I call for 2 and use 4.
Yeah, well.
In this case, you can mince it as small as you want. I'm just going to slice it because I don't mind it being slightly larger. See, like that is totally fine. Once you have your garlic all sliced up, we're just going to put that in a bowl. Now, I keep the garlic separate because garlic can burn really easily, so I cook it a little bit differently than I cook the rest of the vegetables.
You got to keep them separated.
Yep. Saw that coming.
1 small onion.
Now for the onion, this is a very small onion. You can use a slightly larger onion if you want to. I just usually remove the tops and the bottoms, cut in half, peel off the outer layer, and then you have a couple of options with the onion. There's a lot of ways to chop them up. I tend to go with a little bit of a finer dice for this, just because I don't want the pieces to be too big. Like you saw the size of the garlic, so I want the onion about the same. And last but not least is
a red bell pepper, but only half of it.
You can use the whole thing if you really want to, but you really only need about half. It's really there to add a little bit of a fruitiness and some color because, red. It's nice. Again, like the onion, I'm going to dice it fairly small, but not super tiny, a little bit bigger than the onion. So I just go long strips and chop it up. You don't have to get like all concerned about size and everything. It's not that big of a deal. Just, so they're chopped. That's all you need. Basically, you did a good chopping it up. If you have the same number of fingers at the end as when you started, you did it right. And we're going to put these into a bowl as well, together though, because they do get cooked together. When the rice is done cooking, get out your strainer and strain out the water. When the lentils have done cooking, get out your strainer and strain off the water. All right, after about 20 minutes, our poblanos are cooked. They are softer, but they're not like falling apart soft. If they're tearing when you try manipulating them a little bit, you probably cooked them a little bit too much, but it's okay. They're still usable. What I want to do though is get them out of the water. I'm just going to put them onto this lovely little plate here, minus their water, because we want them to cool and dry. You have to hold these with your hands in a little while. So yeah, let them cool. All right, so in a medium pan on our stove, we're gonna start adding in our veggies. You should hear a little bit of a sizzle as you add them, and then start moving them around. You wanna make sure that nothing sticks, and if your pan is too hot and you think you're gonna burn everything, you can add a little bit of veggie broth at this point. We're just looking to get everything softened up a little bit, and after a minute or two, once they're softened slightly, that's when we can add in our garlic. Had we put the garlic in at the beginning, it could burn, and that would make a bitter flavor and probably wouldn't really taste all that great in our stuffed poblanos. Once our veggies are nice and soft, we can start by adding in our lentils that have been strained. They took about 20 minutes. They should feel nice and soft. sample one to make sure they're done so that you don't have crunchy lentils or, mushy lentils. Mushy would be better than crunchy though. While I have the lentils right here, I want to just start kind of, see, I'm hitting them with the side of the spatula a little bit. I'm trying to break up a few. I don't want to break them up totally, just mash them a little bit into those veggies. And now we're going to start adding our spices. So what's first?
1 tablespoon chili powder, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon cumin, a half teaspoon liquid smoke. This happens to be hickory flavored.
Hickory.
1 teaspoon dry oregano, and 2 tablespoons tomato paste.
The ones in the tube are just really convenient for stuff like this because, in the can, you need to use like the whole can at a time, or you got this can laying around. You know what? I'm just going to empty this tube. So it might be a little bit over 2 tablespoons. It's not like the world's going to come to an end.
So,
how much?
that much.
I just did like a pinch.
And black pepper.
Fresh cracked black pepper, that is. I probably don't even have to mention how much we like black pepper around here anymore, so I'm just adding a lot. Now I want to mix this through. Take your time when you're mixing this. Make sure you get everything evenly distributed. And there's a reason why I haven't added the last thing yet, because it's a lot easier to mix in a partially full pan than in a completely full pan. It smells really good though. And last but not least is our rice, which was also strained. And notice how light and fluffy it is, even though I cooked it like pasta. Brown rice is just different. I've found that cooking it that way works really, really well. I also do it in the Instant Pot, but for this, I wanted to just keep it simple. Get out every last grain. It's important. And now we mix all this together. If it feels like it's just really super dry, you can add a little bit of veggie broth. I think in this case, I'm going to put in like maybe a tablespoon or so. Also, at this point, you want to be preheating your oven to 350 degrees. Just a little bit more.
That was an ice cube in there because this was frozen. We batch process and make our own veggie broth.
We actually have a video on that. It's made from scraps and things like that, from all the cuttings from all the veggies. But that little bit of water helps to carry the spices through and keeps it from feeling too dry. This is going to be baked, so you want there to be some moisture in there, or else it'll come out just a little bit too dry. Now, I'd like to say something. You can eat this right now. It's absolutely amazing. It's like a really amazing Spanish or Mexican inspired rice. Notice I'm not saying either one because it's not. It's just something completely different that I made up, okay? Nobody get too angry with me for calling it that. But I want to show you how it's sort of sticking together on its own, so I can pack it and it sort of sticks together. That's pretty much the texture that you're looking for. All right, I have a sheet pan with some parchment paper on it. You can use tin foil, you can use a Silpat, whatever you like, or, go with nothing. But Derica likes to not have to clean things, so that's why we're using a silicone mat on there.
It's not a silicone mat.
So that's why we're using parchment paper on there. Then, really, really simple. Grab one of your peppers, which should be cooled enough to handle. Take some of your stuffing and try to get it as far down in the bottom as you can. I pack these not super tight because you will break them, but tight enough that I don't have a lot of air pockets in there. The amount of filling that you have will probably do 4 or so peppers. It's hard to say because peppers come in different sizes and things like that, but you see I'm packing it pretty good.
As Brian already mentioned, this stuffing tastes delicious on its own, so if you have too much, it's A-OK.
I like to just put it on taco shells. It's really, really good. Little salsa. Yeah. Okay. Once you get to about there, that's when I start getting a little more careful. I don't want to stuff it too much. Notice nothing broke. I'm just going to take it and lay it gently on the pan. And then repeat with all the other peppers that you happen to have. Okay, see this one split a little bit. I might have been a little rough with the tongs, so I just got to be careful with this one. But I'm going to fill all the rest of these, and we'll be back in a sec. So, as you can see, I filled all 4 of our peppers. 2 of them were a little on the small side, 2 of them were, decent size, and we have just a little bit left. That's enough for like maybe 1 taco. All right, so my oven beeped that it's ready. We're going to put these in the oven, 350 degrees, for about 30 minutes. While our poblanos are cooking, though, we need a flavorful sauce to put over the top. So what's the first ingredient?
8 ounces of canned tomato sauce.
We happen to be using Hunt's no salt added because we like it and it doesn't have any salt added. Make sure you get it all out. And don't cut yourself on the lid.
1 tablespoon garlic powder. 1 tablespoon onion powder.
I did say a flavorful sauce.
2 tablespoons nutritional yeast. 1 teaspoon chipotle powder,
Now, if you don't have chipotle powder, you can use just regular chili powder. That's fine.
1 teaspoon cumin,
And some fresh cracked black pepper. And I just want to mix this up real good and see the thickness of it. See the viscosity. It's looking a little bit on the thick side. So just going to add in some of that veggie broth with the ice cube in it. The ice cube is optional. That was probably a 1/4 cup at most. I just want to mix this up. And then I'm just going to put this on the stove on low. There's nothing in here that really needs to cook. Everything's already cooked. I just want it to heat through while our poblanos finish cooking in the oven. And now the best part of every cooking video, we get to taste it. So you probably saw we put some sauce on it. That's the only preparation we did. And then you just, you know, cut a piece off and make sure it's got some stuff in it. And then you hand it to your partner.
Oh,
and can totally confuse her.
Okay.
See, I'm trying to be a gentleman and be polite.
But this is the perfect piece. So secretly, I'm elated. Well, I guess not secretly now because the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
This has got a perfect accompaniment of the pepper with the stuffing and the sauce. And I'm going in.
Me too. Lentils make for a very good meat replacement in this dish. The lentils and the rice combo texture is really, really nice. All the spices in there really flavor this up. That sauce is interesting. It was a late addition. I've played with cheese sauces in this before, but that extra bit of nutritional yeast in there actually makes it feel like kind of a cheesy tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
We have extra flaky nutritional yeast right now. So that's the little bits that you saw in the sauce.
Yeah.
If for some reason that offends you, I don't know why, maybe it does, you could blend it.
Yeah.
And that
seemed to
way
bother Derek a little
it
bit.
would
when she
be
was
more
cooking it.
smooth in appearance. The flavor is going to come out the same. The great thing about this is that that pepper just retains a super moist juiciness.
Oh, yeah.
So that nothing feels dry, nothing
It
feels
feels very moist.
bland. There's a perfect amount of heat in the pepper, and then the seasoning just really enhance that.
I like this almost a fruity sweetiness.
Yeah.
Fruity sweetness of the poblano,
Yeah.
along with the red bell pepper that's cooked inside there.
Yeah.
Actually really adds just a touch of sweetness to take the heat down a little bit. There's a significant amount of heat.
There is a significant amount of heat.
Chipotle powder. If you don't like it hot, don't use chipotle powder.
Yeah.
Just use a regular chili powder
Yeah.
that doesn't have much heat to it.
If you like it extra hot, you could swap out the bell pepper with a spicy
Jalapeno.
chili.
Yeah, you can use any spicy chili you like.
But this is fantastic. I
Yeah.
love the juiciness. I love the texture. I love the creamy sauce. Bueno.
Now, you can, after they're cooked, put them in a container, put them in the fridge for about a week, and heat them up in either the microwave or like in an air fryer, or you can rebake them for about 15 minutes or so. Or you can freeze
Yep,
these.
you could freeze these. Leave the sauce off. Cook the sauce later. But the stuffed poblanos themselves, you can freeze.
Yep, and they'll keep for, indefinitely. Just wrap them up real good with like plastic wrap and then aluminum foil on the outside. That way they'll stay forever in the freezer, basically. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on
The bistro.